Yes, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay, perfect. So once again, what this training is going to be highlighting on, it is going to be protecting the skin from winter skin pretty much. So now that the temperature has dropped, the humidity has dropped in the environment, our client's skin is now completely starting to change. So traditionally, when I am treating clientele or when I'm also suggesting products seasonally, I always make sure to change their products throughout the year. A client's regimen will be completely different from what they're utilizing spring, summer months to their fall, winter months. And not only is it because their lifestyle has changed, it's also just because the whole entire environment that they're around has changed as well. So their skin is naturally adapting to that. Before I jumped on this webinar, myself and Caitlin were having a little kind of pre-call to kind of talk about now with the time change. And I was just telling her how this time change, it almost, I feel like it ruined my life, like a little dramatic, but I feel like as soon as I get off or I log off my computer at 4:30, it's almost like it's midnight. And so up before that, my completely lifestyle was a little bit different. I was going out and biking. I was, doing different things in the afternoon once I got out of work. Now I feel like it's just completely too late and I do absolutely nothing. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I will kind of have Caitlin just start out with this first slide and I'll jump into the second one.
Okay, and something else to mention as far as different time changes and just the transition from season to season, this all has everything to do with your circadian rhythms as well. So if you have gone through any of our previous classes discussing circadian rhythms, it's all about your day-night cycles. And it will definitely impact not only mood. I'm sure people have heard of seasonal depression. It's definitely a real thing, but it affects mood, but it also affects our body's innate ability to repair at specific times of the evening and protecting during the day. So all of this is definitely tied in together. But when we're thinking about when the environmental temperature drops and we start to lose body heat, I mean, we say that because George and I live in Colorado and it's always really snowy and very, very cold. The first thing that happens is vasoconstriction. So when we talk about our oxygen treatment and other forms of vasoconstricting pieces, it really, really can dry your skin out, and it can also compromise your skin's barrier. And that's really the most important thing to remember. And if we're talking about the blood supply, the vasoconstriction and the blood supply of the skin, you're not having any blood supply in the epidermis. That is all peering into the vascular etiology of dermal tissue. So it's something that we need to be really recommending and working on from the inside out. And that's what we're really referring to when we're talking about the temperature differences in the environment.
So that's kind of the two main things that kind of happen when the temperature drops. So one, we have the vasoconstriction that's happening. So traditionally utilizing vasoconstrictors, it's great for a short-term use, but as Caitlin just kind of mentioned, that vasoconstriction is now what is not allowing blood flow to the upper layers of the skin on there. So someone that is chronically dry, dehydrated, their body is constantly trying to find that heat or pull that heat or trap that heat in from somewhere. So cold skin is poorly functioning skin. So we all know what our temperature is supposed to be, or kind of even think about kind of like internally, like if you are cold and you are dehydrated, your body is not going to function properly. I'm sure you all feel like stiff joints, tight joints, just because of cold on there. So we typically utilize like LED, which does have some heat factor, but then there's also going to be just kind of warming up or heating the body up. I'm sure we've been all told many, many times as my body takes a little bit of time to heat up to kind of feel like it's fully functioning. Our skin is going to be exactly the same way. A lot of the times, if you've heard my training before, I also talk about how I start my facials with warmth or I start my facials with heat, and then I will move on to cold. So kind of same thing with the skin. I'm trying to warm the skin up a little bit because I know it's going to be better functioning, especially if it's going to be in a cold treatment room. However, let's talk about cold skin in general and how it's poorly functioning skin. So cold skin does not also retain moisture like a warmer type of skin on there as well. So since it's not retaining that moisture, the other thing that's happening is it's dryness. There's gonna be itching. So that surface itching from that winter itch. There's also subacute inflammation. So you also hear myself and Caitlin talk about inflammation quite a bit. So we do know that short-term inflammation can be beneficial in the form of a chemical peel. However, if it's chronically inflamed for a long period of time, that can potentially damage the skin as well. So in addition to just changing a client's regimen, there's also different things that you'll want to talk to your client about that they're just utilizing at home to kind of treat that winter skin. My biggest friend, or my thing that I do not shut off at night, is the humidifier. So, as Caitlin just mentioned, myself and Caitlin, we do live in Colorado where there's no humidity. We can go from snowy in the morning at like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, but in the afternoon, it can be close to like 60s or 70s. So, not only do we get multiple seasons throughout the year, we can also experience multiple seasons throughout the day as well. So, I love a humidifier. I keep it on all day long, all afternoon. Caitlin, do you use a humidifier at all?
I do, and I've got babies at home, and they are always needing humidifier because their nose gets so dry, especially in the wintertime.
Yeah, so in addition to kind of utilizing that humidifier, especially in the wintertime, something else that you kind of want to think about is you either want to switch your moisturizers for your client's skin, or you can just add to the current moisturizers that they're currently utilizing. So we'll talk about a few of those that you can either add or you can switch and how they're going to really hydrate the skin within this presentation. But one that's not listed in here is if you're familiar with the WOW CBD company. Within the Well CBD company, they just recently launched 1,000 milligram of a CBD booster, and it's in a grapeseed oil. And it is an amazing because you can utilize it as a standalone, but I have been utilizing that for my skin, especially now that the temperature has dropped, because we do know that there's the addition of inflammation, redness that's associated with just the traditional kind of winter skin on there as well. So the CBD is a nice anti-inflammatory, but it also does help to provide a lot of antioxidant support. So that is one that I 100% recommend to add to their current moisturizer that they're currently utilizing. Or we also have the Circadia staple, which is the Hydrolox, which we'll talk about here shortly. Another thing that you'll want to think about in kind of winter skin that we will talk about a little bit more in detail is exfoliating rough, dry skin. So we all know that products are not able to penetrate or absorb through highly keratinized or dense skin. So if we can just utilize products that are meant to remove surface protein, your moisturizers are going to work better. Your serums are going to deliver a lot better as well. Something else that you kind of want to have clients watch out for is those super extremely hot baths. We are even a hot shower. We do know that extensive heat or, just excessive heat can also break down skin barriers as well. So that's the number one thing that our skin needs is that lipid barrier, especially through these winter months on there. So, educate clients on don't utilize super hot baths, just a hot environment on there as well. And the other thing is kind of stay hydrated. You kind of think that is completely obvious, but it's not. I will tell you right now, I am the least person that drinks the minimal amount of water, only because my office is a couple flights down from where my water is downstairs. So I need to just bring a water dispenser now that we're all working from home as well. Caitlin, do you have anything to add on any of those? Stay hydrated, exfoliate, avoid super hot baths.
Just another quick note on this, especially since we all refer to the winter time as being the time for peeling and it's really getting into peel season. I feel like 2020 is a whole new game anyways, because everyone's wearing masks and the masks trap in heat. They also trap in moisture, which can be contraindicated for certain peels. But you always want to make sure too, if your client has excessive dryness and you are administering a chemical peel, there's not the proper amount of hydration between each individual layer of cells. Therefore, your ethanol-based peels can actually penetrate too deep, and that can create additional complications. On top of that, you're having the irritation of the mask. So it's really important to do that consultation or the pre-peel treatment and just kind of gauge where your client's hydration level is. If they're soaking everything up, you may want to do an alternative gel-based peel or do a modified ethanol or cut back a layer or two, because if there's no lubrication system in between those cells, your ethanol-based peels that have an affinity to the sebum in the follicle aren't going to have anything to stop the penetration. So it's going to denature too many of those proteins and create an issue. So just speaking to your consultations, it's very important, and to rethink your peel season, especially with mask wearing and also the really dry skin types that can happen to different climates.
Yes, thank you, Ken. So we just got a quick little pause. So we do have Barbara who's asking about cold humidity or warm humidity. As far as a humidifier goes, I typically just utilize a cold humidifier on there as well. And then Michelle, I need you to send some of that humidity from Atlanta here to Colorado for myself and Caitlin as well. And then Caitlin, Rita does have a question is, what would you suggest people to exfoliate at home? Actually, so I will just kind of pause there because we're going to get into some of our products that are exfoliating products as far as one of our cleansers, which I would recommend that they utilize something like this. The other things that are not listed in here that will help to kind of improve the client's skin as far as kind of exfoliation and removing surface proteins is a retinol, something like Nighttime Repair Plus. The Circadia vitamin A products, they're not formulated with additional cell proliferators that could potentially cause damage like lactic acid, mandelic acid. So all of the Circadia vitamin A's are pretty gentle on the skin, and they're pretty, majority of your clientele can utilize them, but vitamin A can really help to remove surface protein and increase cell turnover. So here we're gonna kind of just jump into some kind of winter cleansers on here. So, of course, all of the cleansers that are in the Circadia line are they're pretty universal. You can use them all year long, but these ones were pulled out specifically to treat winter skin. So if you kind of go back to that original slide, talking about winter skin, it's dry, it's itchy, it's not holding moisture in, or it has a lot of surface protein. These products are going to be great for a couple different reasons. So we will first start out with the Vitamin Veil Cleanser. So your Vitamin Veil Cleanser, kind of the best way to think about this is your healing and hydrating cleanser. So if we're talking about that winter skin, and we do have that client that is more maybe mature, that already doesn't have oils in their skin, the Vitamin Veil Cleanser is going to do a couple different things. One of the biggest benefits of this one is that oil-based cleanser. So it is going to effectively remove that dirt, debris, and makeup from the skin. However, it doesn't provide like a squeaky clean feel. It's actually more of a hydrating cleanser. So a veil of vitamins are going to be left on the skin, and those are what's going to slow down moisture loss to hydrate the skin, but they are also going to infuse the skin with a veil of vitamins and antioxidants. So this is very rich in cranberry seed oil, vitamin E for its ability to fight lipid peroxidation, but also provide wound healing benefits as well. Another kind of key benefit of the Vitamin Veil Cleanser on how it can benefit that winter skin, it contains a GMO-free soybean oil. So the GMO-free soybean oil that you're going to find in this blend, it produces what are called enzyme modulating peptides. So kind of take your kind of mind back to treating mature versus a younger skin. So there's a few different symptoms of that mature skin that we have to address in order for us to see a difference in the skin. So one of the symptoms as we're starting to age is our body is no longer really producing that collagen and elastin like it did when we were younger. However, our body is starting to produce more of these two enzymes that break down our collagen and elastin. So those two enzymes are called collagenase and elastase. So the soybean oil, which does produce those enzyme modulating peptides, those decrease the enzymes from breaking down your collagen and elastin. So think of this as like a pro collagen and elastin kind of cleanser. But in addition to it being hydrating, pro collagen and elastin type of cleanser, it's amazing for massage in the treatment room and just a general makeup remover as well. So we typically don't utilize this one for that oily acne clientele. Kind of the biggest reason for that is oily acne clientele. They don't traditionally want more oils on their skin. However, in the treatment room, this is great to kind of utilize as a first cleanse to kind of break up some of those oils on their skin, even if it's more of a dry, oily clientele as well. Caitlin, you have anything on this one?
Yeah, just to add again, and this can all just relate everything back to the concept of circadian rhythms. But as George had mentioned, we have the most transepidermal water loss between the hours of 9 and 11 at night. So if you apply this cleanser and you have that nice veil of antioxidants, vitamins, and hydration, that's going to help to slow your transepidermal water loss. So you're not going to feel as dehydrated in the morning when you wake up. And same thing with utilizing this cleanser during the daytime. If you live in an area where you're outside, it's windy, it's harsh weather, that veil of antioxidants is not only going to help to fight against free radicals, but it's also going to be more of that protective barrier for your skin as well. So it's a great cleanser for both AM and PM. My personal experience with it, I'm not overly dry, but in the wintertime, it's a necessity in my regimen. It also has this really nice kind of velvety finish to it. So it goes on really pleasant, and you can definitely feel that layer of antioxidants that's being left behind. It's also wonderful for a massage medium. I'm sorry, not massage medium, you just said that, but a shave medium. So for underarms and legs, you can use this cleanser. It does have a tendency to dull your razor just a bit quicker, but it's also going to really leave a nice hydrated and antioxidant-rich feeling afterwards.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. Pamela, thank you so much for that feedback. So Pamela said that she loves the Vitamin Veil for removing her makeup and also as a pre-cleanse, even for her oily skin as well. Yep. So as a shave oil, especially during the winter time, we do have a lot of clients that will utilize it to shave their legs on there because it does provide a closer shave, but then also the skin is hydrated. It's almost like a 2-in-1. You are hydrating the skin at the same time you're utilizing it as a shave medium as well. I don't shave my legs, so I cannot give personal input, but I have heard good things about it as well. All right, Caitlin.
But you use it in your beard too, don't you?
Yeah, I do utilize it in my beard to give like a nice beard glow or like a shine to my beard. So this is another thing that we can kind of talk about really quick. So, we've seen in the last couple of years how trending beards are. So I jumped on that train before it was trending at the time. But of course, underneath beard area, there's bacteria, there's excessive surface protein. There's just what I like to do in my beard area is I will utilize the Almondola milk cleanser as a kind of like a detoxifying kind of cleanser, I would say. It will detoxify my skin with the alpha hydroxy acids in there. But then I will utilize like the Vitamin Veil cleanser, just a small amount of it as like a kind of just to soften it, almost like a conditioner, I would say. So Michelle, yeah, so the question, yeah, so it's not that you're getting like a dirty feel. So question for not getting that clean feel. It's not that you get like a dirty feel. It's just it's just not that squeaky clean feel, if you're familiar with that. All right, Kelly, do you want to start off with the lipid?
Sure. And Michelle, just to follow up for your question, we would recommend a double cleanse if you don't like the feel. I personally feel like it leaves a layer of protection where you can actually feel the nice hydrating finish. But the oils that we're utilizing are slightly charged. So when you apply a slightly charged oil to the surface of the skin, it's going to attach to the negative portion of dirt and debris and makeup. And that's what's going to attach and then wash away when you rinse. So the veil of antioxidants that are being left behind, it's really just a layer of hydration, but you can remove that with a second cleanse, like the lipid replacing cleansing gel. Okay, so getting into this next cleanser, this is a unique cleanser. In the title of it, it's lipid replacing. So our skin's natural pH is anywhere between 4.5 and 5.5. Now, Dr. Pugliese and Michael have done extensive research on the skin's ability to re-pH itself within specific parameters. So the lipid replacing cleansing gel sits slightly acidic, but that's designed to just make sure you can stabilize the acid mantle and you can fortify that lipid barrier. It's going to very effectively remove dirt and debris and makeup from the skin, and it will very quickly, almost immediately re-pH. So this has a lot of your, the Panthenol Provitamin B5. It has a lot of healing and hydrating components to it. I really enjoy this cleanser for all skin types. It does leave that squeaky clean feel that you might be looking for. So that's why we suggest to follow the Vitamin Veil cleanser with the lipid if that's the feel that you're looking for. But it is still helping or assisting in fortifying the acid mantle. So you have the Sachin Ink and Peanut, which we always like to tell people it's not a peanut, it's actually a tree nut. So if you do have a client who's highly sensitive or allergic to tree nuts, this would be contraindicated. But the combination of the Panthenol Pro Vitamin B5, the meadow leaf, the seaweed, the Sachin Ink and Peanut, those are all designed to be fantastic antioxidants, and they're also wonderful at fortifying the acid mantle.
And kind of the other thing with this one, kind of think if your client is looking for that squeaky clean feel, they're going to get it with the lipid replacing cleansing gel. The other thing, kind of the way that, of course, now that we're talking to clients, or consumers, saying that it's going to fortify the lipid barrier, utilizing words like that, they're going to look at you and they're really not going to understand. So what I like to do explaining to clientele is, this is going to be a gentle foaming cleanser. This is going to be great for all skin types and all skin conditions when you really just want a cleanser to cleanse. It effectively removes that dirt, debris, makeup from the skin. However, it's not going to compromise or it's not going to cause any type of irritation on the client's skin. It's also great as that back bar must, as Caitlin was mentioning, because there's nothing in here that can irritate the skin. It's utilizing a sulfate-free surfactant. So surfactants are designed to give products their foaming action, but they also break down lipids from the skin. So this lipid replacing cleansing gel can also help to remove extra oils from the skin as well. So the reason why this one is in here for that winter skin is because if we have a client that is sensitive or irritated, or they just feel that wind burn, this product is going to be great because it's not going to compromise their skin. Then the last one that we're going to talk about as far as the cleansers go, it's your Almondola Milk Cleanser. So your Almondola Milk Cleanser is going to be your alpha hydroxy acid cleanser. So it does have a 1.5% lactic acid and also a 1.5% mandelic acid. So it is about a 3% AHAs that are going to be in here. So we all know that lactic acid and mandelic acid, being both alpha hydroxy acids, they have similar benefits, but there's also additional components to them as well. So lactic acid, mandelic acid, the way they are similar is they both are going to remove surface protein. So they do help to exfoliate the skin in a chemical way. The other key benefit is they are brightening. So they are also tyrosinase inhibitors. However, lactic acid is also hydrating. So that is what's going to stimulate your body's natural glycosaminoglycans for internal hydration. Whereas mandelic acid is also going to be antibacterial and antimicrobial as well. So the Almondola Milk Cleanser, the way that this is going to kind of benefit that winter skin is, as we were talking about it earlier, your serums are not going to absorb, your moisturizers don't work if we have highly keratinized or really dense stratum corneum. So this product is going to be the exfoliating product that a client can utilize as a daily cleanser. However, I traditionally add this into a regimen as more of a weekly treatment. So your client can apply this with a fan brush, leave it on for about maybe 10 to 12 minutes, maybe even just have like the steam of a shower kind of running while you're in the shower, while it's onto your skin, and then remove it. So this is great, not just as a winter cleanser, it's also great as your brightening anti-aging cleanser as well. So one thing to kind of note, cleansers are all kind of about generational. So your more mature clientele, they're used to cleansing creams, or used to cleansing balms, or even cleansing milks. Your younger generation, though, if it didn't foam, it didn't work. So your younger generation may not like a cream cleanser because it's not working, or they don't feel like it's working. So there's a couple different things you can do. With the Almondola Milk Cleanser, you can combine it or mix it with the lipid replacing cleansing gel. So now that's going to add foaming action to it. Or it blends extremely nicely with the micro exfoliating honey cleanser as well. So you can kind of just mix those together, and that's what's going to create that foam. But then they're also going to get the benefits of the dairy-free milk cleanser. So it's a sweet almond oil or sweet almond milk, which is very nourishing on its own, but then they will get the benefits of the lactic mandelic acid as well. Caitlin,
I have a quick pro tip for using the Almondola Milk Cleanser in the treatment room. So especially now around the holidays, if you have the Amendola milk cleanser and you just mix up a little bit of your cocoa enzyme and you mix those together under steam, it gives you a really nice flip from the Amendola milk cleanser, but now you're actually enhancing the exfoliating mechanism by adding in the enzymatic exfoliation with the AHAs that George just mentioned. The aroma, because the Amendola milk cleanser has that sweet almond aroma to it, and then you're adding in the really sweet, rich cocoa enzyme. It has a wonderful smell, a unique sensation. Under the steam, it feels super high luxury, and you're also getting a really nice exfoliation. So I love that combination, especially this time of the year when you're treating winter skin. And then if the microexfoliating honey cleanser doesn't have enough grit to it when you're treating, when you're doing your treatment, I love mixing the Amendola milk cleanser with the hydrating cleanser from the Switch kit. That has a little bit denser of a bead, and there's more beads per teaspoon. So you can really get a nice mechanical exfoliation along with the AHA exfoliation of the Amendola milk cleanser. So those are two different ways that you can bump up the activity of this cleanser in the treatment room.
All right, so that kind of wraps up the cleanser portion of here for kind of winter skin. And then after that, I'm going to see if, Caitlin, do you want to start out with antioxidants and just protecting the skin from that kind of winter skin on there?
Sure. So, and something that's really important to remember, yes, we talk about winter skin and this time of year being cold, and when we think of that sometimes as being really dark, as George mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, when the sun is setting early, there's not as many hours of daylight, but we do still experience high noon sun. And if you do live in an area with snow, you're also dealing with the light refracting from the white snow and then back up into not only your eyes, but on your skin, and that can create significant issues. So we want to make sure that we are leaving the skin in the healthiest state possible. So with healthy skin always comes proper UVA and UVB protection. We also want to make sure that we have adequate antioxidant support, because even though it's cold outside, we still are exposing our skin to environmental toxins, also different pollutants. So it's something that we need to be recognizing as a support system that we need with antioxidants and UVA, UVB protection as much in the summertime as we do in the winter.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in and start talking about the products that are your antioxidant products. You know, you will notice Circadia is a little different compared to industry standard when we formulate a product. You know, we formulate a full circle product that, one, will help to correct the skin, but we also add antioxidants into the majority of our products on there as well. Really quick, we just had a question from Denisha. She wanted to know about how much of that cocoa enzyme would you put into the Amendola milk cleanser. The half a teaspoon is perfect. You could even do less than that if you wanted to as well. Another tip to that is also add a little bit of water, not much of it, but it's great. So even a quarter teaspoon is perfect on there. One other thing I did want to mention, so we are talking about quite a bit of different kind of mixology tips within this presentation. So I'm going to type a link in the chat section, and this will take you to our webinar replay website. And myself and Caitlin, we did a mixology webinar, and you can find that recording there. The other thing is, as far as like the slides of the presentations, when you go to the circadia.com/replay, a copy of the slides is on a downloadable button. So I'm going to push this in there. So it's just circadia.com/replay. So when you visit that landing page on the website, you don't need a pro login to access this landing page. You're going to find at least 20 to 30 pre-recorded webinars. So every time myself and Caitlin does a webinar like the one we're doing today, it gets recorded, it gets edited, and then it gets uploaded there along with the presentation. So if you guys get a chance, especially if anyone is closed down as far as different places you are at, definitely take advantage of that educational site. Another thing I did want to mention is we also have a Circadia certification or a Circadia training that everybody can access as well. So the way to get access to that is you would have to reach out to your business development manager, and they will have to give you a comp code or a coupon code to allow you to access that training, kind of the training website as well. So if you don't know who your business development manager is, just email info@circadia.com and just let them know you're interested in getting Circadia certified.
And just a quick note, as far as this winter skin webinar, it usually takes anywhere between 24 to 48 hours to get them posted after we present them. So just bear with us a bit and keep checking within the next couple of days, and this presentation and recording should be available.
Okay, perfect. So now we'll kind of jump back into it. I know that was kind of our little just brief announcements that we forget at the beginning. So back to where we're at on the presentation is we are now talking about antioxidants and also protecting the skin. So as we just kind of talked about, that cold winter skin is more vulnerable to free radical damage. So one of the biggest, or one of the main products that Circadia does have in your toolbox is the vitamin C reversal serum. So Circadia's vitamin C reversal serum, it is a little bit different compared to industry standard. So one of the biggest things that I want to kind of show you here, we're going to get a little kind of in detail on the ingredient that we're utilizing, which is called magnesium ascorbyl phosphate. So traditionally in the aesthetic industry, everybody is pretty used to seeing L-ascorbic acid or just ascorbic acid as kind of like the gold standard of water-soluble form of vitamin C. However, Michael Pugliese and Dr. Pugliese, they do know that there's some downfalls for formulating with ascorbic acid. So kind of one of the biggest downfalls for formulating with ascorbic acid in a final product is by the time you're done finishing that product, in order for you to stabilize that formula, it has to be a very low pH. So we all know winter skin is a compromised skin. So if we're applying something on the skin that's a lower pH than that 4.5 to 5.5 that our skin is, it's just going to aggravate their skin a little bit more. It's going to irritate their skin a little bit more, not because of the vitamin C in it, but because the final formulation is a very low pH. So in order for you to stabilize ascorbic acid, you have to have a low pH, and that's how it stabilizes that form of vitamin C. It doesn't 100% stabilize it for a long time. So traditionally, ascorbic acid by itself is going to have about a shelf life of about a 3 to 4 months. And then when that product starts to turn like brown or even yellow or change colors, what has happened is the ascorbic acid has now oxidized. So if you apply an oxidized form of a vitamin C on a client's skin, it's actually going to start to cause free radical damage because it's an oxidant versus an antioxidant. So that's another downfall, is short shelf life, and you can't get it on everybody. So this product, the type of vitamin C it is, it's a magnesium ascorbyl phosphate. So it's that same ascorbic acid. However, two minerals are attached to it, which is now going to stabilize it. So this product is going to be formulated in a very neutral pH. It's about between a 7 to a 7.2. So this can actually help to rebalance a compromised skin as well. In addition to us having the magnesium ascorbyl phosphate, it's actually, it got bumped up. So it's not an 8%, it's actually a 10% now, which is going to be equivalent to about a 24% ascorbic acid just because of how stable it is. But you get all of the benefits of ascorbic acid as far as antioxidants, decreasing melanin production, protecting the skin from the collagen breakdown as well. But this is also going to be in a multiple weight hyaluronic acid. So we do know how winter skin doesn't have moisture or doesn't have, just water within their kind of keratinocytes anymore. So this product, it has a multiple weight hyaluronic acid. So it's a little bit different compared to just hyaluronic acid that you traditionally see out in the aesthetic industry. What we're utilizing, it's a multiple weight pharmaceutical hyaluronic acid. So traditionally, kind of lower price point or lower grade hyaluronic acid that your client may find at just kind of like over the counter or any type of MLMs, that hyaluronic acid is going to be a little bit different compared to this one. And what's different is that this HA is going to be cylindrical in structure, and there's different weights to it. Whereas traditional HA is linear in structure and it's at one weight. So that's what sits much more superficial. So in the winter time, traditionally, you can't utilize an HA because the very first place that hyaluronic acid looks for moisture is in the environment. If there's no moisture in the environment, then this product is actually going to pull moisture out of the skin and then it's going to evaporate, where this one's different. This one has hyaluronic acid that's going to stagger itself throughout the keratinocytes. So as it's pulling moisture up, it's going to get trapped in the skin. The other thing with hyaluronic acid in general is, hyaluronic acid by itself is great in your spring, summer months. More in your winter, fall months, I will always add like a semi-occlusive balm or some type of emollient that also traps it in as well. All right, Kaylin, we have a question on here. So notice at the bottom of the bottle started to get white chips on it. Was the serum past its prime?
No, it's not. So it's just with our particular formulation, you may get some white flakiness, especially around the rim of the dropper. That's totally normal. It's just part of the formulation. But what you are looking out for and what you should look out for in general is the yellow, the brown, or the black. When you start to see a shift in color, which our particular form of vitamin C does not vary in color at all. It's actually going to stay that crystal clear formulation, even throughout the 2, if not 3-year shelf life that we have all of our testing with. But when you start to see it turn yellow, brown, or black, it is actually creating oxidative stress, as George mentioned, and it's called dehydroascorbate, and it is reversing the antioxidant protection and actually promoting additional free radicals. The white that you're seeing is just part of the formulation, and it has no bearing on the efficacy of the product.
Perfect. So another antioxidant product that we can discuss, it's another antioxidant hydrating product. So this is called Blueberry and White Tea Hydrating Mist. So this is one of our functional mists that Circadia does offer. So we do have 4 functional mists that are similar as far as consistency, usage, and application. However, the other sub-ingredients are what's going to be a little bit different. So one thing I do like to talk about with the functional mist is they're extremely, you can use them in so many different ways. They will activate our enzymes. You can utilize them in place of a toner, not to reset the pH, but more to infuse different active ingredients. So one thing with the Blueberry and White Tea Hydrating Mist or all of the functional mists, you will notice that it is a thick consistency type of product. So this isn't a traditional sprayer or a traditional mist. However, the mist in the sprayer comes out pretty aggressively. So there's a couple different techniques on how to utilize this. One thing though is you want to fully commit to the sprayer and really press down on it. So you can spray it into your hands and press it into the skin. You can spray it up into the air and let it fall down onto the skin, or you can be at an arm's reach length and just really commit to the sprayer. We also have a lot of estheticians and consumers that really enjoy spraying this into like a cotton round or a 2x2 and utilizing it to infuse into the skin that way as well. So the Blueberry and White Tea Hydrating Mist, it's great because it's going to infuse the skin with botanically derived antioxidants. So there's blueberry, there's white tea that you're going to find in here. However, this is also going to not really just, in addition to protecting the skin from free radical damage, it's also going to help to decrease melanin production as well. So for your aging, mature clientele with that licorice root extract that you're going to find in here. Blueberry White Tea Hydrating Mist, all of the functional mists, they're also great to set mineral-based makeup as well. However, utilizing this as a makeup setting spray, you really want to either spray it up or be at an arm's reach length. I was talking to someone the other day and I was mentioning how when I used to go out and do trainings, when I first started training on the mist, we typically hand out products. So now I have a disclaimer before I hand this product out saying spray in your hand first, because I noticed when this was going around the bottle, people would just kind of shoot their eye out with it.
Yeah, we definitely have to tell people about it ahead of time. And it's something to keep in mind if you are retailing this product, to make sure that you're telling your customer the same disclaimer. But a little bit of backstory as to why this is a forceful sprayer is that we have a 1-to-1 ratio of extracts to base. So the way that we like to kind of educate on this is that it has the same purity and the same potency as your traditional serums, but it's in a really nice delivery system of a nice hydrating mist and something that's going to feel really refreshing. But because we have such a high potency to it, we've looked high and wide for the best high shear mister. And because the formulation is just a little bit thicker, it doesn't come out as nice and sheer as a mist. So my favorite application method is to just spray a couple of sprays into my hand and then apply it as if I would a serum. But George has a really good analogy as far as the hydration level of the skin being similar to a sponge, and making sure that if you apply the mist first, it actually makes your serums last a little bit longer. So now before we get into Meristem, George, if you want to just go over that, because I think it'll make a lot of sense for a serum following.
Yeah, so so just know there's no wrong time to mist. Like everybody in our corporate office is addicted to misting and spraying. So we spray all day long. I think it's just more habit right now, but think of this, there's no wrong time to utilize one of the Circadia functional mists. But the other thing is kind of think of our skin cells, especially after we just utilized a cleanser that now kind of pulled oils out of our skin. You know, our skin's really tight and dry. If we go straight into a serum, our skin is pretty much like that dry sponge. A dry sponge is going to absorb more moisture in one targeted area, the first area that lays down. So utilizing a Circadia functional mist, it's going to enhance the delivery of any of your serums. In addition to it enhancing the delivery of the serums, it's going to allow you to use less of the serums, because if you this kind of wet the skin first, it's almost like you're wetting that sponge first, but with an active beneficial ingredient, then it's going to distribute your serum a little bit more evenly onto the skin. So you don't need as much of the serum, and now it's just enhancing the delivery system of the actual serum as well. All right, Kaylin, you want to jump into Meristem?
Sure. So when we talk about our serums, the majority of the time we refer to our serums as our hyaluronic acid-based serums. The only one that does not fit that description is our Meristem. So the Meristem sits in an aloe base versus the hyaluronic acid base the rest of our serums do. Keep in mind, this is an EcoCert organic aloe vera base, and it's designed to have that really nice, intense wound healing ability, but it also can double as a fibroblast stimulator. It can help to enhance wound healing after a chemical peel, or also somebody with a compromised barrier, which we're talking about here with winter skin. So the base of this formulation is slightly different, but it adds that extra wound healing and healing component to it. Then on top of that, we're adding in the apple stem cell and the Edelweiss stem cell. So just a brief description on utilizing plant-based stem cells. We hear with this particular product all the time, you know, I'm not an apple, so how does my skin recognize an apple stem cell? And the bottom line is it doesn't. So we're using apple stem cells and Edelweiss stem cells for their secondary metabolites. Now, we also don't have any live stem cell culture in any of the products, and this is the case for 100% of the stem cell products on the market. As a skincare manufacturer, we go through extensive links. What word am I looking for? Extensive links.
Yes, that is the word.
I think I just had a mini stroke. Extensive links to not have anything live living in our products. We go through challenge tests and rip tests and all sorts of things to make sure that the product is safe to be applying to the skin. If you were to have a live stem cell in your product, then the potential for infection and irritation, et cetera, would be so high. So when you're looking at a stem cell product, there is no live stem cells. What you're looking at is secondary metabolites that stem cell produces when it's wounded. Now, manufacturers utilize apple stem cells and Edelweiss stem cells because of the longevity that that Swiss apple has. It can actually withstand very intense heat and also intense cold and still have a long vitality. Similar with the Edelweiss plant has great antioxidant support. It also it can show some great benefits for the skin when used as secondary metabolites for collagen and elastin stimulation. So we don't recognize the apple stem cell, but we do recognize the secondary metabolites for the longevity aspect. So that's what we're getting from both of these stem cells. Then on top of that, we're adding in the Cliopeptide 5, which is designed to enhance cell-to-cell communication. So our skin, or our keratinocytes, if you can think of them as little gossipers, they have the ability to communicate with other cells through the release of hormones. For instance, if we were to step outside and expose our skin to UVA and UVB rays, and we weren't wearing any protection, your surface keratinocytes would release a hormone called alpha MSH that's going to trigger your melanocyte to start producing pigment or melanin to protect from the sun. So you really want to have optimal cell-to-cell communication for all skin types, but in particular for a winter skin, you want to make sure that you're having that adequate sun protection. And we know melanin is our body's own response to UVA and UVB rays. And we also want to make sure that our cells are also getting enough hydration, which is all underneath these cell-to-cell communicating umbrellas.
All right, so we did just have that question coming in. So back on the functional mists, they can be utilized before any serum, any oil-based serum. They can also be utilized. So the thing with kind of layering products in general is all of your water-based products will go down first. So that's like your serums on there, your functional mists. And then once that goes down onto the skin, then your emollient-based products or your cream-based products can be laid on top with the Circadia line also. So those are some of the products that are great to incorporate in winter kind of regimens for antioxidant support, wound healing support as well. Of course, we also have to protect the skin from UVA and UVB damage. So, you know, a compromised skin is more vulnerable to that UVA and UVB damage as well. So in the winter, dealing with winter skin, we do know that our skin is also compromised because of the no humidity, the vasoconstriction on there. So the product that Circadia does have is the light day sunscreen, broad spectrum SPF 37. So I do know this is a mouthful. There's many, many words within the name of this. However, 4 of those words are mandatory by the FDA. In order for a sunscreen manufacturer to provide or claim UVA, UVB protection, it has to have the word broad spectrum. So if you are working with a sunscreen that doesn't have the word broad spectrum, that's just going to provide UVB protection. So this one is going to be a broad spectrum sunscreen. It's also an SPF of a 37. So another kind of word or phrase that is mandatory from the FDA. So SPF in a 37, you know, we always get the question, why 37? Why 37? So the reason why this one is a 37, when we originally developed and formulated this product, we were only going to make an SPF of a 30. So we'll kind of talk through the reason on that, why. When this first got developed, it was between 2011 and 2012, and that's when the FDA was really starting to crack down on sunscreen manufacturers at that time. So if anybody remembers the word sunblock, so sunblock was utilized quite a bit in marketing. Well, now the FDA in that year said we can't utilize the word sunblock for marketing. It has to be the word sunscreen. So brand new product developers are utilizing the word sunscreen just because they're not able to utilize the word sunblock. There are a handful of companies that are out there that were grandfathered to utilizing the same marketing that they were utilizing at that time. The other thing, if you guys remember the word waterproof, so now sunscreen manufacturers, especially new ones, they can't utilize the word waterproof. It has to be water resistant, and it has to have the amount of time that it's going to be resistant for. However, same thing at that time, they were also starting to limit kind of mislabeling their sunscreens. You know, you were starting to see like SPF like 150, SPF like, it was just kind of like false hope on there, because if I apply this sunscreen that is an SPF 2000, I don't have to reapply for a week or something like that. So now if they are going to have a sunscreen that is higher than an SPF of a 50, it will say SPF 50 plus on it. So, and this only is for probably brand new sunscreen manufacturers, not people that were grandfathered into these 80s or 85s on there as well. But when we first formulated this product, we formulated an SPF of a 30. When we sent it to get tested at, it came tested at a 37. So for that 1 year, they made us put what it came tested at, which was a 37. Nowadays, you can label lower, you just can't label higher. We just chose to keep it as that 37. So I think I'm gonna have Caitlin explain why that Solastay bumped it up. She explains it a little bit better than I do. And then we'll kind of just go off of each other on that as well, if you don't mind, Caitlin.
Sure. So the Solastay, it's an award-winning photo-stabilizing peptide. It actually won most innovative peptide technology a few years ago. And the way that it's working is It's basically taking all of the excited state molecules and quenching them out to neutral before they have a chance to create heat in the skin. So your traditional chromophores or chemical sunscreens, they have a negative reputation because they can create or induce chronic inflammation in the skin because that energy, it's radiating at such a high energy orbit. And the only way to neutralize it back out is to quench it out as heat. And so it heats up the skin, and that actually creates some heat reactions for people who are highly sensitive. So Solistay takes it from a singlet state, and it bypasses that triplet state where it's basically vibrating at such a high level, and it neutralizes it back down to water in a fraction of a second. So one, we can use a smaller amount and still get adequate SPF. And then two, we can also prevent the heat distribution into the skin. So this is my favorite formulation because it's a 3-in-1. It's a moisturizer, it's an SPF, and it's an antioxidant product, all in one product or one bottle that has amazing finish to it. If you have a client who's a mom on the go and has zero time for her skincare regimen, this is a 3-in-1. If you have a client who might be on a budget, but they know that they want all three of those things or three of those products, this is your 3-in-1. It doesn't leave a white cast on the skin because we are using avobenzone octinoxate and octocrylene. We're also using lipochromin 6 and Preventhelia, which are not only going to be fantastic antioxidants, but they can also protect your DNA from damage. So when you talk about UVA, we're always referring to UV aging. That's a shorter, less energy in the wavelength, but longer, so it penetrates deeper. We think of UVB as UV basal cell carcinoma. So that's the one that has a shorter wavelength, but it's much, much higher in its energy, and it can create damage to the DNA. So we want to make sure that we can protect DNA from getting these dimers that can potentially lead to carcinomas. So having that particular ingredient, which is Preventhelia, in this formulation makes this product a total game changer.
All right, so those are kind of the protection products that we'll kind of talk about. The other thing that I do like to mention about this sunscreen in general is it's cosmetically pleasing to the end user. So the majority of sunscreens out on the market, it's not cosmetically pleasing. It balls up, it smells, doesn't smell good. So if a sunscreen is not cosmetically pleasing to the consumer, they're not going to utilize it. So we may sell them this product and we feel really good that they're going to protect their skin, but they're not going to use it, or they're just going to use it on special occasions. We do know that our skin is not only getting some damage from special occasions or a day out at the beach, it's chronic exposure to the sun. So a sunscreen needs to be applied every single day, but this product smells good, feels good, and adds an additional glow and hydration to the skin as well. So we have two more categories to go through. So we may go a little over. I think that's pretty standard, right, Caitlin? We go a little over all the time.
I mean, it would be a rare case if we didn't.
Yeah, so we will definitely. So two last categories is going to be your moisturizers, and then also products that are designed to be more for your sensitive, reactive clientele. You know, normally you may not have a reactive clientele, but as soon as it turns into winter, now they're probably going to be more reactive than if they were in the winter or in the summer months as well. So let's kind of talk about moisturizers. So before we talk about the moisturizers in general, I want to talk about the different ways that we can help to hydrate and moisturize the skin. So this is all different ingredients that we can utilize. We can utilize ingredients like hyaluronic acid, which is a humectant. The way that humectants help to hydrate the skin is by binding environmental moisture to the skin and kind of pulling that in there. We can also utilize ingredients like emollients. The way emollients, these are like your soybean oil, your avocado oil, macadamia oil. The way that these oils are going to hydrate the skin is not by infusing moisture in the skin like humectants. They're designed to slow down moisture loss, or we see reduced TEWL or transepidermal water loss on there as well. So during the winter time, there's not a lot of humidity in the environment. So now we have to incorporate products designed to slow down moisture loss. So these different oils or these semi-occlusives. However, there's also peptide technology that will help to in provide internal hydration as well by increasing your aquaporin channels, or even like lactic acid, how it stimulates your body's natural hydrating mechanism as well. So, we always have to kind of look at the client's skin and find out and observe what their skin needs. Some skin is going to need emollients, some skin is going to need humectants on there as well. So the first product that we do have is called Aquaporin Hydrating Cream. So Aquaporin Hydrating Cream, it is going to be a skin hydrator that's very lightweight. However, instead of the Aquaporin Hydrating Cream just mimicking hydrated skin, so we can just make the skin looks like it's hydrated. So the majority of moisturizers that are out in the industry, they don't really hydrate the skin. They just look like the skin is now hydrated. So one of the characteristics of a dry, dehydrated skin is there's no moisture or there's no oils in between those keratinocytes. So our dead skin cells or our keratinocytes are pretty much like fish scales, right? So if those fish scales had no lipids or if they also had no water in between them, they're gonna sit straight up. So now as our keratinocytes kind of sit straight up, they don't reflect light like they should. So most moisturizers, all they typically do is lay those keratinocytes down flat and kind of add them like an occlusive, and now the skin looks like it's hydrated. So Aquaporin Hydrating Cream, it is going to be an instant gratification product because it does utilize oils that match our lipid profile pretty much identically, like the avocado oil, olive oil, macadamia oil. All three of these oils is what's going to provide that surface hydration, slow down moisture loss, but at the same time, we're utilizing kind of communicating peptides called diffuporin and aquasense, and that's what's going to move water or moisture within the aquaporin channels to provide that internal hydration. So yes, this is extremely lightweight. It's not that ultra rich feel that the client may kind of express to you. I'm looking for a rich hydrator. If someone comes to you and they say they're looking for a rich hydrator, they're looking for like a white petrolatum based product like petroleum jelly. So a good alternative to that would be our post pill balm. But just educate your client and let them know that this is starting to correct their dehydrated skin. So their skin will get better with each usage, but it doesn't have to have that over thick feel to it with this one. The other thing, it's extremely, the aroma is amazing. The shine and the glow it adds to the skin is also amazing. So you can utilize this for many skin types and many skin conditions also. All right, Caitlin, you want to go over Moisture on Demand? One second, hold on. Caitlin's Wi-Fi went out for a second. So we are now going to talk about the next one, which is called Moisture on Demand. So Moisture on Demand is going to be another kind of skin hydrator that Circadia does have to offer as well. So this product, it's great because it's more of another moisturizer booster that you can either utilize as a standalone, or you can also utilize in kind of introduce into some of their other moisturizers as well. The other kind of big benefit of the Moisture on Demand, in addition to it being able to slow down moisture loss, it is also going to reduce any type of discomfort or irritation from like windburn, sunburn. So think of this as another anti-inflammatory, anti-discomfort type of moisturizer. The way that this is going to slow down moisture loss is with a smart product or a smart ingredient. So there's an ingredient in here that's called Expert Moist. So Expert Moist is what's going to create this film on the skin that slows down moisture loss. However, that film that kind of gets layered over the skin on there, it's able to gauge the amount of humidity that's in the environment. So this product will not only adapt in the different climate changes throughout the day, it also adapts for those travelers, even though no one's really traveling too much right now. The Expert Moist will do extremely well in dry, dehydrated territories, but it's also going to do extremely well in your high humidity because the Expert Moist is what's going to be able to gauge the environment to decide if it needs to increase moisture loss or slow down moisture loss as well. So this product, it's
Okay, I think we're having internet issues, but I'm back now. Are you back?
Yeah, I am back. So we just finished Moisture on Demand. So did you, So I'm glad you're back. My Wi-Fi is having issues as well. So it just said your internet is unstable. So I'm glad you are back. Will you go over Post Peel Balm while I try to reconnect to a different Wi-Fi network?
Sure. So post-meal balm, it's kind of an inside joke amongst the employees at Circadia that we refer to this as like the Windex of our line. If you've ever seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding, when the dad sprays Windex on anything, that's how we feel about post-peel. Post-peel balm is so universal. It has what we refer to as a semi-occlusive consistency to it. So it acts like second skin, and obviously it's designed for post-peel, but it's good for bug bites, windburn, sunburn, because it has that second skin feel to it. But unlike a white petrolatum or any sort of a fully occlusive base, it doesn't trap the heat in. And if you have anything like an Aquaphor or a Vaseline, it's going to act as second skin and be very efficient as far as that's concerned. But if it traps too much heat in the skin, that actually can create additional inflammation that you weren't wanting or needing. So this is going to be great for really creating that barrier, especially for windburned or sunburned skin. But then you're also having the addition of our thermostressin peptide. And this is actually designed to decrease the heat shock proteins. So it's going to really help to prevent cellular stress. And that's something that occurs not only in the winter, but when you damage the skin with any sort of a treatment, whether it's compromising the skin from a controlled wound from peeling, from laser treatments, from any sort of aggressive home care regimen, this is really going to protect the skin in multiple ways.
All right, then the next are kind of the last product before we get to our last category. It is called Hydrolox. So Hydrolox has been known within the Circadia range as a moisturizer booster. So this product is great, especially during the winter months, because you can add it to any kind of lipid-based hydrator that the client is currently utilizing to boost the hydration benefits. However, Hydrolox is a similar formulation as far as if you're comparing it to the Vitamin Veil cleanser. So we talked about how the Vitamin Veil cleanser was like your healing, hydrating cleanser, how it's going to decrease collagenase, elastase, but also provide a lot of antioxidant support. Hydrolox is going to be a similar formulation. However, the Hydrolox also has a very natural preservative system. So what is going to provide bacteria kill within this formulation is the cinnamon and also the curry leaf oil. So the cinnamon and the curry leaf oil does provide the kind of antibacterial benefits within the product. So since this also has a very natural kind of preservative system, you also want to pay attention to the lips of the client as well. So this is an amazing lip oil or even a cuticle oil, even the cuticles of hands, especially now that everyone is hand sanitizing, and washing our hands. There's a lot of damage that is now happening to the cuticles as well. So what's great for kind of the estheticians, especially now if some of you guys are closing down, start to pay attention to the client's hands during this winter months. We do have this product that can be retailed as a cuticle oil, but we also have Tidal Moisture for the body, which is an amazing hand product as well, a hand moisturizer. You can also start to even do that staycation facial kit that we first launched originally. That is a great hand treatment or even décolleté treatment. Even the hand area does have a lot of highly keratinized, really a lot of just skin that needs to be exfoliated and brightened. So that would be perfect as well. All right, so kind of our last category on here is we want to utilize products that are typically in the Circadia sensitive line, so our rosacea line. So what these products are all designed to do is reduce inflammation, reduce discomfort, repair a compromised barrier. So, you know, these products don't just have to be utilized for someone that is rosacea or sensitive. You can incorporate these products even into your anti-aging clientele or your acne clientele, especially now during the winter time that their skin has changed a little bit as well. So first one that we do have is the Aloe and the Calendula Calming Mist. So this one is pretty similar to the other functional mist that we talked about, except this one is more of your anti-inflammatory, anti-redness, soothing functional mist. So this does have a healing and hydrating blend that is all botanically derived. So your calming blend is the aloe, the calendula, chamomile, Same application technique as before. This one is also great post-waxing, more facial waxing when the client may get red or irritated as well. This product is also great as a post-peel bonus product. So it's not part of a post-peel home care kit, but this can be also great as a post-peel bonus product as well, especially if you have like those pickers. Instead of having them pick at their skin, what they will do if they don't have an alternative, have them spray this product and kind of tap it in with like clean hands as well. All right, Caitlin, I'm gonna have you just go through the next two, which are pretty similar, Chronocalm and Tranquility Cream.
Sure. So we just had a great post on our educational forum. So again, if you're not part of our forum, it is a wonderful resource. You have Circadia customers from all over the world who can chime in and give you expert advice. We have all of our business development managers on there as well as our educators. But we did just post something on the benefits of our serums and then also the sister products to each of those serums. So Chronocalm and Tranquility Cream are sister products. The Chronocalm is the serum form of these anti-inflammatories, and then the Tranquility Cream is the cream version that's going to go hand in hand with the Chronocalm. So one of the main ingredient profiles that we like to talk about with the Chronocalm is the telangian. This is the #1 anti-redness peptide on the market. It is designed to pull out any visible redness in the skin, and it can do so almost immediately. So if you have a client who has a lot of irritation, a lot of sensitivity, a lot of heat that you're feeling in the skin, the telangian is going to be an excellent ingredient to incorporate into their home care, but also to be using as a finishing product in the treatment room. We also are utilizing Quench Tea, which is designed to reduce any of that burning, stinging, or tingling sensation that happens with a more compromised or rosacea skin type. And we'll talk a little bit more about the change in the pH and how that affects those who suffer from rosacea. But then you have a combination of ginger eco extract and marshmallow eco extract. Again, these are eco certified organic, but they're designed to be amazing anti-inflammatories. You'll notice that marshmallow eco extract is the main ingredient that we have in our marshmallow whip hydrating mask because it has such proven anti-inflammatory components to it. The oat beta-glucan is wonderful to stimulate the natural immune system of the skin. Dr. Pugliese many years ago did some of the initial research on topical beta-glucan. And when he took a punch biopsy of the skin and he applied topical beta-glucan, he actually visibly saw the Langerhans cells reaching up to grab the beta-glucan. So it immediately stimulates the immune system, which is very, very important for this compromised or sensitive skin category. Now, the cream that you would use after the Chronocalm is the Tranquility Cream. So the Tranquility Cream has some of those same staple anti-inflammatory ingredients, but it also has the DeliSense peptide. And the DeliSense peptide is amazing at reducing discomfort, pain, or itching sensation that happens in that very steep pH change from the surface of the skin to, again, the dermis that houses our bloodstream. So the surface of the skin, again, the pH is anywhere between 4.5 and 5.5. In the thickness of a credit card, or not even, it's actually a quarter of the thickness of a credit card, you have a drastic pH change. The surface is 4.5 to 5.5, the bloodstream is 7. Those who have sensitive skin, compromised skin, or suffer from rosacea, they actually can't handle that drastic pH change, and that creates a lot of itching and also creates some discomfort and pain. You'll notice again that pain and discomfort is accelerated in the evening. And that's because also your circadian rhythms kick in and you have increased heat in the evening. And that heat also can induce the pain and the itching. So applying the Tranquility Cream at night and also having those anti-inflammatories and the DeliSense peptide, it's going to give almost instant relief to the skin. So I always suggest Chronocalm, Tranquility Cream are sister products that really do need to be applied together, and you're going to see a lot of that instant relief in the evening. Another side note, you'll notice that there's kind of a trend for cosmetic fridges. George and I were just talking about it. We both have one. And if you keep your aloe and calendula calming mist and your Chronocalm in your cosmetic refrigerator, it's a wonderful way to also reduce some of that discomfort.
All right, so we just have one question really quick, Caitlin, before we log off. So would the Chrono Calm Tranquility Cream be a good combo for somebody who is hypersensitive to skin mites?
It could be only for the byproducts to help to reduce the side effects or symptoms of the byproducts of the mite. But in order to actually control the population of the mite, you want to incorporate the Rosie's Relief Cream. So right now we're talking more about like winter skin and symptoms of winter skin. But if you do have a true rosacea, you do want to make sure that you can decrease the population of the Demodex mite. The Rosie's Relief Cream contains a proprietary blend of different oils that are actually designed to asphyxiate the Demodex. So when you can reduce the population of the mite, then the Chronocalm and the Tranquility Cream can come in and reduce the side effects of having a higher population of the mite. So they all go hand in hand, but you do want to incorporate the Rosie's Relief Cream in order to really address the root of the cause versus just the symptoms.
All right, well, that kind of wraps up our presentation for our Wednesday webinar. So we do have the next one that is already, we have that one set up. So next month, we're going to be talking about switch and oxygen. We're not going, we'll talk about application technique on there, but we're going to really talk about on how it's working on the skin. So how it can benefit many clientele out there as well. So thank you everybody for jumping on with us today. And I'm sure we'll talk to y'all soon.
Thank you, everybody.